Hello everybody, my name is Eric Mullins, and today we're going to be checking out manufactured by Wonderful Works, distributed by Good Smile Companies, Atelier Ryza's the video games Reisalin Stout. Such a thick introduction. She is a fabulous 1/7 scaled figure, and Wonderful Works, I must say you did an immaculate job with this figure. However, let's get into all the nitty-gritty tiny details and see if she truly is as gorgeous, vibrant, and full of life as she appears to be from a distance. Her base has a nice thick edge to it, as does everything with this figure, I suppose. This is absolutely beautiful. It's so gorgeous. I love the grass that we have on here with some beautiful highlights, shading. We have some dry brush technique on there. The green looks like a nice green, and we get a bit of different green when we get into these cute little flowers down at the bottom. We have a couple of stones next to her left foot that unfortunately aren't colored in. They're painted green as well, and you know they could have colored them in because the stones on the back look amazing. With some moss, it's just very nice, very colorful, very cartoony. The stones themselves actually have some shading to them as well. While not any highlight, this could have used some dry brush technique in my personal opinion, but it doesn't detract from it very much because, again, it does have that video gamey cartoon vibe. It's cute how they cut out like a little path that she's standing on. I like that. Underneath the base, you see all sorts of pegs and plug-ins. It's hollowed out. The base itself isn't that heavy. There's a bit of clear plastic underneath her shoes. This is to give her that effect where it looks like she's kind of moving or in motion in her pose. Plastic itself is pretty clear. After all these years, sometimes you get plastics that kind of muddy up and become more opaque. This one doesn't, so hooray! When you get the figure herself, you can actually peg her directly into this, and it actually looks nice. I'm surprised that it doesn't stick out as much as I thought it would when seeing her on a shelf. Her shoes themselves have a nice lighter brown sole that then goes into the darker brown of her stocking? Boot? Shoe? Doohickeys? I don't know what to call them. The cutout for the feet is actually pretty cute, and I love how it goes down into this little ring that she has in her middle toe. Her feet are very well done, and they put cute nail polish on each one of these nails that looks decent and not so much out of place. The boot thigh highs have a couple of designs going across them to give off fashion, I guess? It's cool to see that her monochromatic boots actually have a bit of style to them as well. This way it meshes nicely with the rest of her clothing. When we get up into her knees, you can see that she has these cute little white triangles that are in the back. It looks cool. I also like how in the front we have the same kind of cutouts, and the white that protrudes from them seems to be the part of the boot that sticks to her thighs the most, so that way I guess the boots don't fall down. And based off of the beveling from her thighs, these boots are on her pretty tight. Then again, she's always going on adventures, and I feel like you'd want something to stay on when you're on adventures. I don't think I should be talking about the practicality of this character's clothing for an adventure island girl. It's just, none of this is going to make sense or work if I start going in that direction, so we're going to ignore that. This is a fun, beautiful video game character with an absolutely gorgeous, fun, adventurous design. On her left boot, we actually have this awesome little belt buckle with a lighter brown and a cute clippy little pouch that has a little button on the front, this beautiful little hanging tassel-y thing. It's pink, it looks adorable. For real, all the little intricacies on this figure are flipping adorable. Then we get into her thighs, which are very shapely. She's quite the curvy lady, and I'm very surprised about this, considering all the past Atelier games, they were always very thin. It's like a nice breath of fresh air to have a character that has somewhat more realistic body proportions, at least in this point in the franchise, and on this figure in particular. Her thighs are very well rounded out, and they put some shading on there. It's pretty nice. There's not so much highlights. I believe the lighter parts are just the regular skin tone that they used for the mold. And these shapely thighs go into her shapely hips, which are gorgeous. She's basically got those va-va-voom curves that so many of us love. Her short shorts, booty shorts, island adventure shorts? It's got some beautiful fabric stretching to it, where on the sides they're actually cut off, and we have these cute little black ribbons tied up. It would have been nice if they reused those same black ribbons on the front of the shorts. It would have been a nice callback, but they went with the same red molded from the rest of the fabric on the front of these shorts. The back of her shorts are quite tight on her. They do a good job at folding and beveling in the skin to show how tight these shorts are, where we get some expertly done fabric folds here and stretches as well. which is kind of hilarious considering she's wearing this jacket that can't be taken off. The side has these little loopy fabric pieces where on the right side she actually has a nice little bottle. Who knows what that bottle does? It's all part of her fun adventure alchemy lifestyle. And because she's an alchemist, she needs to have some sort of alchemy belt, and that's where we get this teal colored with darker blue shading belt. Nice little clip along the front. Then we have these gorgeous little potion bottles. It's so cute, and it actually looks like there's something inside it. They probably should have gone with a different color than red because, you know, it just kind of disappears along the red of her shorts. But the clear plastic still does a really good job at making you think there's something in there. Then she has these other 2 potion bottles along the inside left hip, and they look great, transparent as well, with these cute little caps that are a matte gold. And crisscrossing this bluish belt, we then have this darker brown belt that really brings us back to the brown on her boots and on her right glove. And this is really fantastic. It's kind of got that piratey feel and vibe to it, but this is just another call to adventure. Her shirt is very well sculpted, beautiful stretches in the fabric here. And I love how we get the little design lines going down the center of the shirt with beautiful little beveled semicircle bottom flayed edges? I don't know what to call this. I'm no fashionista. And it shows off her stomach ever so slightly with her cute belly button, and it's very nice and somewhat provocative. Well, this figure shows off quite a bit of spice, only to be matched up with its quite a bit of cute and adorable. It's like it's the perfect alchemical blend. We get her little 3 stars up at the top of the shirt with 2 black stripes, and then this light blue fabric that kind of folds over the top that seems to be bolted in there with like a button or something. She has 2 strings that are holding the shirt around her shoulders, and they don't really show it well, but I'd like to imagine that her sleeves are connected to this somehow through anime magic. That's how. The sleeves are absolutely gorgeous. I love how they go upwards here. We get this beautiful little black ribbon, and it kind of ties it back to the black ribbons on her shorts. The way it opens up down near the bottom, we have this beautiful gold band holding everything around her elbow, where it then flays out into the wind, the winds of adventure. Her right hand is sporting a little brown glove that goes with the rest of the dark browns on her, while her left hand is being dainty and cute, and she has this nice little bracelet going around it that's well painted for something that seems like it'd be so delicate. Now let's talk about her jacket, coat, such thingy-majig hoodie. This is really nice. The shading on it is, you know, decent. It's not overpronounced, and it does what it needs to do well so that it still gives off that cartoony, anime, bright and vibrant vibe. Along the front, we have these nice tassels that are connected to the hoodie, obviously so she can tighten it around her. The inside is like an off-white, creamy looking color, while we have the outside being a beautiful pastel yellow. We get this nice gold line going across the edge of her hoodie, and it kind of contours this whole hoodie in general. And we have this beautiful dynamic motion with the whole thing, which just goes with the rest of her pose and her feeling like she's moving or in the process of doing a tiny, cute little jump. The jump towards adventure. In the center on the bottom, we have this big metal clip. I don't know what it's for, but it definitely looks cool. And as we go up from there, we can see that she has another little clip loop piece with just a random chunk of fabric. It's looped, so you almost feel like she could hook things into this, but it's just a cute design. Despite this fabric being looped onto this golden circle piece, you can't actually see through it. It's just sculpted to look like that. The hoodie part itself has this lovely little design with an X on the top and this cute little diamond piece. I think it would have been cool to have an alternate costume of her where she's wearing the hoodie over her head. That would have been nice. It looks like they put some work on this design. And there's a nice cutout hole here where you can see her back, and it looks gorgeous, well sculpted, nice line on there. It's just really pretty. Her shoulders are very well sculpted, and they connect like most shoulders do into her body, where here we have a very well pronounced collarbone, and I always kind of like that. It's pronounced at the top, not so much under. Maybe I would have liked a bit more underneath, but just from the top, and depending on the different angles you're going to see her at with different lighting, it really does come out looking like almost line work to an anime illustration. She has this cute little necklace, and it's done using, I don't know if that's like a little metal wire or a plastic one, but it's connected to this little starfish or star of some sort, and it moves around really nicely. You can actually like do all sorts of stuff with it. I don't know what I think about this. I like when something is stuck onto my statues, so if ever I'm moving them around or I'm taking pictures or videos, it's not accidentally in the wrong place and I don't realize that way after the fact and then have to retake all my photos again in the proper position. So that's kind of annoying, but for just a collector, there's no problem with this. It looks beautiful. Her chest is really well done, very shapely to go with the rest of her shapely design. I wouldn't say it's over the top either. I'm so used to anime figures going super big on chests, especially when their thighs are as curvy as this Ryza's right here, but they didn't do that. It kind of made it seem somewhat realistic. It looks super cute. cute and gorgeous. And we actually get a little bit of shading on the chest too, where it gets a little bit darker down near the center. And this is nice because it makes her necklace pop out a little bit more. Her staff. My goodness. It comes in two pieces where you take the entire staff, slide it through her hand, and then you attach this little back golden design piece. Tweaks. And what's fun is it's not circular. There's only one way to plug this back piece in, so it locks into place nicely and it doesn't slide around or move or end up becoming off-center because everything is just plugged in circle to circle. Thank you. Wonderful works. You did a wonderful job with this. The back is full of warmer golds that lead into kind of like paler, lighter, more pastel, and it looks gorgeous. It really sticks out nicely as we get into this brown handle that slides through the back of her, where her whole cape is just so well designed to be able to show off the weight that this staff is pushing up on it in the first place. Her hand holds onto it very well, and it's in a very good angle so it doesn't just keep sliding down or falling off. All these cute little designs with the windmill piece and the directional wind arrow that we have. This is very cool and extremely well done. We have so many layered effects to this staff. It's just absolutely phenomenal. The one thing that would have been really cool to have is if this pinwheel could actually spin, but it does not, unfortunately. And this coming from the person that just dunked on her necklace not being attached. Make up your mind, Eric. Do you want too many options or no options? I'm just very difficult sometimes, okay? I'm like a complex, three-dimensional person with as many layers as this sweet staff, all right? And I like to imagine that most people out there are, so give me a break. Her face is fantastic, very well-rounded. I'm gonna just straight up say this because it's personal for me, but this is my favorite kind of face in all of anime ever. Like every time I see those big round faces with huge round smiles, big eyes, I always get like pumped up for adventure. What a flipping cute face she has. It's so nice. I love how well sculpted it is. The nose is extremely tiny, but still well pronounced. So from every angle that you see it on, you get a nice little bit of shading. The mouth is adorable. I love how they put some teeth in there and how it's more three-dimensional. There are some faint brush strokes underneath her eyes to imply blush, and it's so cute. This is the sort of thing that could have been too much, and they put just the right amount. The eye decals themselves are very beautiful. Not shiny. I might have liked to have maybe the eye part feel like it has a bit of gloss on it. Even if it doesn't, it looks like in the game, so I'm not going to complain. And I love how it's not in black. They use lighter colors and it's so beautiful. It makes everything feel so soft and vibrant. Her eyebrows are very thin, high up there, really to go with the rest of her facial expression. Where we then get her cute haircut. It's so lovely. I love the little hair clip she has there, keeping it out of her eye. It's got some great dynamic motion to it, which isn't too much, but just well enough pronounced to go with all the rest of her body and how it's moving. There's some beautiful shading in there. However, I would have liked to see some highlights. That classic anime zigzaggy, lighter brown line going along the top front, it would have really made this figure look perfect. She has her cute little beret, and this thing is freaking adorable. You've got her hair that actually folds back into it, and there's this nice little bunny ear style bow at the top. It goes with her hopping, jumping energy that she's just displaying all over the place here. It's done using blacks, but also a couple of dark browns to give some highlight to it. When we get to the actual thing itself, it kind of just looks like a giant mochi. We have the seam line down the center of the hat to show that that's how it's been sewn together. And then there's this cute little pinwheel to kind of match up with her weapon on the back, and it looks adorable. It's an off-white hat that kind of matches up with her t-shirt, and we get these darker beiges here and there for the shading. It's really well done. Upon her release, she was 18,800 yen. That is a phenomenally good price for this figure because she's so well made. If you're paying a premium on her, well, that depends on your love for spicy, adorable characters or Ryza in general. She's had 2 releases, and both times they were the same price. Good on you, Good Smile. For real, that's really cool of you to do that. Because this figure is so immaculate and so perfect, I would almost say it's the definitive Atelier Ryza figure of Reisalin Stout from the first game. They could have easily cranked up the price on this thing. I've gotten a lot of figures since I picked her up, and to this day, she's still part of my top 5. I freaking love this figure. It's just so accurate, and it does everything that it's supposed to do. Wonderful Works clearly didn't hold back on making any of this, and I love it. My one little gripe would be a personal issue that ended up happening to me when I got her. I wasn't particularly lucky, and when she came in the mail, front of her chest was scuffed up from the shipping. hey, it happens sometimes, and sometimes it's really, really bad. So I contacted the company that I gotten this from, which is more or less of a local anime shop, and they weren't willing to help me. It was very frustrating and kind of disappointing, so I had to go my own route and contact Good Smile, and then Wonderful Works. And at the end of the day, through so much adventurous trial and error, they sent me the replacement body that I got to put on there. The one issue being that her head is actually factory glued onto her body. So now I have this body, but I don't have a head to put on it, and I have to remove the head from the older body in order to then superimpose it on the new one. This was a nightmare. This was an awful experience. It took me 3 hours to do it. I had to be really careful pulling her head off, constantly go in with a small little knife, even needles at one point, to be able to remove as much glue as possible and not try to damage the figure's head while I'm trying to yank it off. When I finally removed her head, then there was tons of chunks of plastic that are factory glued in there. So I had to use all sorts of different tools to remove that plastic, while again being extremely careful not to remove any of the paint or damage the face or the head or the hat while I'm holding on to this thing. It was so stressful. I was in like a pool of sweat for most of that. But at the end of the day, I managed to get it on here and everything worked out. It just was awful, and I'm disappointed that Wonderful Works or Good Smile didn't realize that when they sent me the body. That aside, at least I still got it. I put a whole bunch of work into making her come out looking great, and me getting to work really hard on a figure that I really liked in the first place is kind of adventurously charming. They're constantly releasing new Ryza figures here and there, and her in this costume and clothing has been released countless of times in different types of poses. But this is really her classic poster picture pose, and it looks like the poster picture. So hopefully this video helped you decide if you're still on the fence of getting her or not. If you like my video just a little bit, it doesn't cost much to collect that like, staff smack that subscribe, and stir that notification bell. This way you'll be notified of my future videos that I come out with. It goes a crazy long way at helping out my channel and the adventures that I'll have in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and have an amazing rest of your day. See you next time. Bye! Oh, full disclosure. Okay, so I own all 3 of the Atelier Ryza games. I love everything about the designs to these games. Visually, super gorgeous. Freaking love the music. It's so awesome. That feeling for adventure, beautiful. And I've only played the first one. I just don't have time to play tons of games, and I'm kind of focusing on different things here and there. I own quite a few Nintendo Switch games because I worked at a video game store for a little while, and I would collect used games left and right. I've probably completed about 10% of what I own, but I played this game start to finish, 100%, everything in it. I freaking love this game. It was just awesome. It was so down to earth, just that fun island adventure, and the big crazy calamity in it is like, oh no, our island, we might have to move. Like, okay. Okay, so it was maybe a little bit more intense than that. Not like saving the world. It's all about adventures, adventures, adventures! And who doesn't love a jam-packed, super full, extra thick adventure?